Okay, making sure that we are ready to go. We're going to let people join in. We just switched over from a different live link. So thank you for your patience with us and our technical struggle. But it seems like we have overcome it and we are live.
Yay.
Okay, I'm seeing some people are joining the new link, so that's great. Okay, great. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining our internship graduation presentations tonight. We are doing virtual presentations because our interns are spread out through two different locations in the state, and the CorpsTHAT staff is in Maryland. So we're actually in three different states. So that's why we are doing a virtual presentation. So thank you for joining us. My name is Emma Bixler. I'm the program director for CorpsTHAT, and this is the sign name. Just wanted to start off by talking a little bit more about this program, how we created the program, and how it's been going. We originally collaborated with American YouthWorks, and they had a partnership with the National Park Service. CorpsTHAT has been running our own conservation crew, and we've seen a lot of need to continue the experience that members get from Conservation Corps and moving forward in outdoor industry. So we wanted to find ways to connect that experience. American YouthWorks had reached out to us and we presented that idea and we decided to collaborate from there. We started it in 2023. It was a summer internship program and it was very successful. We partnered with two different national park service and the American YouthWorks had reached out to us again for a second year. And we decided that we wanted to do this again and also extend the experience to last into the fall season so that people who work during the summer could also continue their experience being an intern at the National Park Service during the fall season. And so this is our first time that we had a fall program. And so we're really excited to see this program continue. I do want to see more opportunities to expand these programs for following years. This year, again, we did work with two national parks, and we would love to see more, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 more national parks for next year. Trying to think what else to say about the program. If nothing else, we'll switch over to our field and logistics director, who will speak more about the internship program itself and what the interns have learned and the type of projects that they've been working on very hard for the last 4 months.
Great. And thank you for giving a brief introduction of what the program is about and how we've collaborated and how we've started this program. I'll introduce myself. My name is Sam. I'm also known as Marlo. Both names apply. As Emma had mentioned, I'm the field and logistics director for CorpsTHAT. I've had the fortune of working with these 5 interns very closely over the past fall, and it's been an incredible internship. I just want to talk briefly about both places that these 5 interns were placed, 3 at the Chickasaw and also 2 at the San Antonio missions. So 5 in total, 3 and 2. And a fun fact is that all 5 of these interns are alumni of our Conservation Corps at some point since 2021. They were all involved in some capacity. So it's really cool to see these interns continue to grow and thrive in our program and take advantage of more opportunities. Before I'm just going to give a brief summary and let the interns really expand on it. But when we kicked off our program, it was a 1 week long training at our office here in Baltimore, Maryland, which was 1 week where all interns were together, living together, training together. And the training included various topics. I won't list all of the topics that were covered, but the principles of leave no trace. We also talked about leadership, risk management, how to deal with public lands, and then dealing with different applying for complicated applications and how to navigate the federal job application process, advocating for interpreters, how to work on indigenous lands, a variety of topics were covered. So this just gives you a little taste of what was covered in that 1 week training. And then we sent everyone off to their respective sites, whether it be in San Antonio or in Chickasaw. And they were placed at both sites. At Chickasaw, the three interns had went to go work with two deaf National Park Service staff. They were able to work with direct communication on a variety of projects. I won't elaborate on it, but briefly, they did some masonry work on the sidewalk that had to be repaired, that was damaged after a hurricane and a tornado actually had damaged it. So they worked on repairing that the stones with pouring concrete, as well as a few other projects that took place during the fall. They also did a program with the Oklahoma School for the Deaf as well. It was a 2 day project where this school has kindergarten through 12th grade, and these interns led a variety of programming, working with all these students, teaching them the principles of leave no trace, how to identify different animals while they're hiking. They did a project with the high school students. They covered a whole host of other program things during this program, and they'll talk more about that. And the Oklahoma School for the Deaf is in the same town as NPS. So it was really great to pull these people and so they can interact directly with the Oklahoma School for the Deaf. So it was a really great program. Now that was Chickasaw. Now in San Antonio, we had two interns placed there. Both of them worked on a variety of projects, working with the ground maintenance repairs, resource management team, as well as the Department for Irrigation. They had a day with the town of San Antonio where they worked with them closely with local officials all day, removing invasive species, working on the groundworks, various repairs. That's just a little taste of what their program entailed. I want to emphasize that these five interns have a true passion for pursuing the outdoor industry and working with land resource management. And they really are looking forward to continuing this work. So this program was a unique experience for them to get some experience so they can further their passion on a federal level and stay in this as a career in the outdoor industry and the conservation industry field. With this program, we really wanted to empower deaf folks and open more doors to doing this type of work. Without rambling on, I want to now pass it on to the five interns so you can hear firsthand from their experiences, their favorite memories, their favorite projects that they worked on over the past 4 months, their future plans, and they'll share with you some pictures from their journey along the way. So I'll go off and you'll be seeing a PowerPoint from the first person who will be presenting named Mark Wallace, and he'll share about his experience. So thank you all. I hope you enjoy the rest of the presentations. Hello, everyone. I'm Mark. I'll be sharing my screen here. So
Yes,
just
I'll
to
I'll I'll go ahead and share the screen for you, Mark.
thank you. All right, great. So I'll introduce myself. As I said, I'm Mark Wallace, and we were located in San Antonio. That's where my internship was placed at the National Historic Commissions there. And we had collaborated with CorpsTHAT, the Texas Conservation Corps, American YouthWorks, and AmeriCorps. And all these different organizations helped foster my passion for working in the outdoor industry and what I want to work on from here on out for the rest of my career. So this is me. I'm Mark. I'm a junior and I'm an intern. As I mentioned, I worked at the San Antonio National Park. Next slide. Next slide. So before I came to this internship, where was I? I came from Los Angeles. Technically, I went to Pennsylvania first, which I worked on a site there for with conservation work, and I'll show you some more pictures from that experience.
Working with Student Conservation Association.
Keep going. Great. So we had collaborated with the Student Conservation Association as well as the Department for Conservation Resources in the state of Pennsylvania. And CorpsTHAT was also a partner for this project. I was a crew lead and a crew member, and that's where I had worked. And you can see some pictures of me in action working with my crew. I really enjoyed this summer experience. It was a wonderful experience for me, and I grew a lot in developing various skills and talents in outdoor work over this past summer. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. So the Mission National Historic Park, my role was managing the team, working with archaeology, biology, recreation, landscape, and more. I was on the interpretive team as well. Was helping guide various tours, and I was also on the shop teams. I was involved in environmental masonry work, doing repairs on this site, repairing the aqueduct, custodial work. So I wore a lot of different hats over this whole internship experience. Keep clicking. One more. All right, great. So, so what? Why? How did I join? Well, first, why did I join this program? This program really fit my passion for outdoor work. I wanted to network in this industry, in this field, and improve my knowledge and skill set as it related to outdoor work and become an authority in this field. So I delved into this program, and during this program, I had many different roles, and I improved my capabilities and understanding of what really goes on out there and what various projects entail and how to interact with various crew members and those dynamics interpersonally. So my favorite memory from this internship was the team, just interacting with them. I had a great work ethic, and I'm really proud of that. And why others should join this program, like I said, you'll develop skill sets, communication skills as well. You'll have to overcome unknown obstacles and problem solve, and you'll feel great about that in your various roles that you take during this internship. So next slide. So the resource project that I had worked on was this was my first week during the project with my team here. And this project was to find out the average age of the trees throughout the park. I worked with a person named Darby, who is a historical landscape architect on that resource team, and it was a successful project. And how we were able to be successful was we took the circumference of each tree, and based on that, we could measure the tree and calculate the tree's age and then document it. And there was a form we had to fill out as we went from tree to tree, and then give this to Darby, who I worked closely with, and we accomplished his goal by getting the average age of the trees in this park. And so every year they can now estimate the age of these trees. And this took about 70 trees throughout
170.
170 trees, around 8 to 9 acres. And this took about a day and a half worth of work, about 12 hours in total, to document all of these trees. And I really did enjoy finding out the age of them. And it was very interesting for me. Some were over 100, 300 years old. Some were 50. They're considered young trees, and they had very thin um, branches. So this is what our group had worked on. And I really had enjoyed working on this project to figure out the average age of trees. Next slide. So next, I'll talk about the interpretive project. This is with a different team, and the project's goal was to guide the visitors to the tour at the Mission of San Jose. They had hosted an American Sign Language Day at this site. And I had worked with the ranger there at the park. I listened to their presentation, and I had studied and prepped for this in prior to the ASL day at the site. And after that, I had received many positive feedback from my ability to present the information in American Sign Language to deaf and hard of hearing visitors. And I felt that I really did inspire them to see me as a deaf and hard of hearing person leading a tour. And they were able to watch me present this information to them in sign language. They had never thought, they would see someone like me leading this tour, and that was a real big success. And I'm very grateful that they had this ASL day. We had about 65 visitors come and go on this tour with us. And one thing I had learned about it from the interpretive team was to just find out how to enjoy listening to their content and having to interpret it and deliver it in ASL. And I really enjoyed doing that. So next slide. I'll go back. There you go. Another project I worked on was an environmental project, specifically masonry work. I worked with a person named Matthew and another person named David. They're both part of the masonry crew. And our job was to repoint the limestone wall of the Mission of San Jose. I'm sorry, San Juan, and to renovate this wall for restructure. And I learned how to make mortar with different sand and water. I observed how the masonry crew, how they work with their hands in a specific way to apply the mortar on the wall and repoint it. So it was a hands-on experience for me to use this technique and apply it onto the wall. And then I became adept at doing it and successful. There were four of us. There was David, Matthew, another intern, and me. And so the four of us, we worked closely together, repointing this wall together. And what made this successful is that we work very cohesively as a unit and effective to repoint this whole wall. And it was 49 feet in height and 25 feet long. So this mission of San Juan, repointing that on all sides, was very successful. And here you can see a picture showing it was a lot of work, but I really did enjoy it. Next slide. And the ground project that I worked alongside with a person named Jerry and John, along with the two other interns in our crew from the Student Conservation, the SCA. They had joined us as well. And there are many projects happening simultaneously in different areas. And we were working with care and respect to the environment for the health of nature, leaving everything and discarding everything when we were no longer working. And we accomplished and completed many different projects as a crew here. And there are many visitors coming up to the mission who were looking around on tour. So we had to do projects such as mowing the lawn, and we had to do this in tandem with visitors coming as to not disturb them, work with the gardens crew, make sure the landscaping looked well as a whole host of other duties. And the garden crew, they had many different roles. I would say about 2,000 to 3,000 trees they had to be responsible to take care of, and about 35 to 40 stumps. Another thing, we worked with various equipment, lawnmower, trimmer, also weed whacker. I think there's about 10 acres in total that we were responsible for taking care of. And this project lasted until the end of our internship last Friday. And what I learned from the ground crew was just how to interact, how to listen from each other's experiences, respect other people's opinions, how to build up my own opinions and share that with the group and collaborate with others. And this skill set will apply to any kind of role I take on in the future in this industry. And you can see a picture here where I pulled some rope from the wood chopper when we were processing the tree. So we had to pull the rope and carry it into the wood chipper. Next slide. So before I wrap up, I just want to thank everyone and all the staff who I worked with along the way at NPS, the American YouthWorks Corps, the Conservation Corps, AmeriCorps, CorpsTHAT, and every individual who I worked with throughout the duration of my internship. I thank all of you. And I really felt I grew tremendously over the past year. And I hope to see you again next year, every year from here on out. So thank you for watching my presentation. Thank you. Great. Thank you.
Okay, are you ready? You ready?
No.
This is Sam speaking. Hi, everybody. We are going to switch over to the Chickasaw National Recreation Area intern. So, ready to pass it over to you, Taylor. The floor is yours. Thank you. Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming to see our presentation. Today, we are presenting on the Chickasaw National Recreation Area. My name is Taylor. And next slide. So this is the agenda. The three of us are going to be presenting on this. We're going to talk about introductions, projects, our favorite project, the most challenging part of our experience, our favorite memories, and some of the metrics and analysis of our work. So again, I am Taylor. I'm from Missouri. And I've experienced Texas Conservation Corps in 2023, then in CorpsTHAT this past summer, and then this internship with my third experience with conservation. So the reason why I joined this program is because I thought it was very valuable to learn more skills and knowledge to increase my resume. And so my role was to work on trail work and working with the crew. Next person. Hi, everyone. My name is Austin Weber, and I experienced CorpsTHAT last summer as a crew 5 in Vermont and in New York, and that was a great experience for me. That was my first time working with American YouthWorks as well, and in National Park Service with Chickasaw. I also was an RTC, which stands for Road and Trails Crew. And so we really focused on trail work within parks and maintaining them. I joined this internship because I wanted to build up my resume, gain more experience, and find more work within this industry. Next person.
Hello.
My name is Wade. I was in CorpsTHAT in 2021, Pennsylvania Outdoor Corps in 21 and 22, and then Chickasaw National Recreation Area in 24. So my role in this internship was the road and trails crew worker. I joined the internship because I love working outside. I wanted to see what other states look like. And I'm interested in this for my future. So that's why I wanted to join the program to find out more. So we're really focused on masonry and road work. And that was the majority of our work. At first, it seemed simple, but it was intense work. So, for example, we had to remove road stone and then add in gravel. And then we would have to find the right big stone and then put that on the outside, and then smaller stones in the center. And so the smaller stones would break apart. So that's why we needed to have the bigger stones on the outside. So once we found the right shaped stones, it was almost like a puzzle piece, putting them all together. If they were all messed up, they wouldn't last. So we had to make sure that they fit well together and making sure that they were all level as well. And some of the stones would be slightly uneven. So we had to make it a little bit uneven so that the water could run off easily. So Sometimes we would have to level out some things. We would have to add gravel if some of the stone needed to be slightly more elevated than others. And that work was a lot of work. And so after that, we added cement. First, we actually had to make the cement using sand and lime mixed together. And once we mixed it, we had to wait for it to dry, making sure that there's no cracks. And then lastly, we had to put dirt on the outside of the cement. And so that was our work on that road. Next slide. Yep, next slide. One more. So those three pictures show our work. We'll tell you how long it took us to take that project to be completed. It was a lot of work. Next slide.
And the next project, as it related to the trails, and we had to check all the trails that were damaged from rain and see their condition, make sure they were in good shape or not. At some points, we saw the trails. There was no gravel there. We had to put gravel back onto the trail so people could walk on it more easily, as well as cut the trees and overgrown branches so it'd be easy for people to gain access to these trails, for cars to drive on these paths as well. We also cleaned the leaves that were left over, so we washed them off so it'd be easier for people to see where they're at on the trail and so they were clearly identifiable. The drainage, they had some blockage there, so it wasn't easy for water to flow out and water would start flooding on the trail, so we cleaned that out. We used weed whackers to clean out the weeds that had grown in the area and cleared those parts of the trails from the weeds. You can see some pictures here. So in these pictures, you can see work on the outdoor trails, bringing the gravel in. In the second picture, you can see some trees that we were trimming. The third is some more gravel, and then the leaf blower in the bottom right. And this picture here, yeah, you can see us hauling out the bags of leaves and throwing them out.
So another project that we worked on was working with the Oklahoma School for the Deaf. And that was an elementary school, middle school, and high school. And so with the elementary school, we had three different activities. We did natural exploration, search, animal identification, and we had a bingo game going. So if they would identify something like a stick or things in nature, they can mark it off on their bingo card. In the middle school, we had a deer game. We went on a nature walk and some leave no trace skills, or I'm sorry, conservation skills. And we also cleaned up along a fence, and that was for the high school. Also, with the high school, we worked on environmental ethics, leave no trace principles, and again, cleaning up trash, uh, making a trash timeline to learn how long it takes for trash to completely disappear on our earth. Like, for example, glass would be like 1,000 years. So making that kind of timeline. Um, we impacted this group of kids by teaching them hands-on learning, ecological awareness, stewardship skills, and inspiring them with environmental responsibility. And we were able to impact all ages from elementary to high school. And you can see a picture of some of the students here.
So my favorite project was the masonry work that we had done. It was quite challenging trying to level the stones out and make sure they were perfectly placed and centered on the trail. Sometimes after it rained, it had damaged our progress. We had to adjust and repair it. So it was a fun, challenging, and new experience for me that I really did enjoy.
In this picture, you can see all these branches. This was actually one of my favorite projects. I really enjoyed using the pull saw and trimming the trees and being able to have the roads be more visible and safe. And so I really enjoyed doing this project. Um, and I'll explain more about that. Yeah, so my favorite project was the masonry as well. Um, like Wade had mentioned, you know, this the whole project was a lot of work, but then there were different containers with basically a sponge-like consistency where we would have to clean the rocks so that it smoothed out the actual masonry, the trails. So that was a really fun part for me. One of the most challenging parts of this internship was having to clear this section here. Uh, I'm sorry. I'll have the next picture come up. So the most challenging part was the rock leveling, like I explained before, making sure that everything was even. You know, at this part, we hadn't completed the project and then it rained overnight. And it really cleared out a lot of our work and made everything uneven. So we had to go back in and refill those cracks in between the rocks. And then it rained again the next day. And for the 2 weeks, it kept raining and it really prolonged our project. And so we had to keep working through. And finally, the rain stopped and we were able to finish that project. So that was one of the most challenging parts.
And for me, the biggest challenge was part of the stewardship. We had to make a plan, and sometimes things got messed up with the team. The hours were short, and we didn't have enough time. So we're trying to figure out how we can do this in a group setting and under these time constraints. So, for example, for the elementary school, there was a different time for them, and that was shortened. And afterwards, discussing with the group together, we smoothed everything out. And so for me, that was the biggest challenge.
And my favorite memory in this picture, one more picture should come up. Oh, yeah. So the first picture with the trees all lit up, it was really beautiful. And that was in Oklahoma City. And it was very beautiful there. And then the Northern Lights, we saw that back in October. That was really nice to see. So those are my two favorite memories. And then next picture. And one more picture should show up. And one more. So that first picture, Oh, yeah, it should be good. With the purple background, that was the Myrad Garden in Oklahoma City. And we were able to attend, and it was very beautiful. It's very humid inside. It's very cold outside, but then when you walk in, it's very hot and humid. So we had to take off our layers. So it was really beautiful. Forestry, plants, ivy, very beautiful. And that time was Christmas lights that would come on and they would change colors. And that was really neat to see. So I really enjoyed that. The next picture over is a coyote. We went to Oklahoma City Zoo and we saw wolves and coyotes and really enjoyed that. And one of them actually came up to the fence to look at us, and a funny experience or a fact. Um, yeah, so a funny experience. I ended up taking a picture of that.
Next picture. So you can see the comet. It was always been my dream to see a comet, and finally I was able to see one, and I was really awesome to just sit and enjoy watching it. So after 30 minutes, it was gone. And then the Skydance Bridge was really beautiful. And we had gone in Oklahoma City, and I really enjoyed seeing that bridge. It's really big and quite a sight.
So there should be two photos. Okay, so metrics for the masonry, we had 504 feet of stone walkway, which is a lot of work again. For trails, we checked a total of 10 trails in roughly 25 miles. And we maintained that, and we used basically a car to drive around and look at all of these trails and count these miles out. We also filled 7 trash bags uh, in the various parks in Oklahoma um, to clean out those drainage holes. So yes, we cleaned out the drainage holes. Some of them didn't have to be cleaned, so we could skip that, but it was about 40. And then we had 2.5 miles of campgrounds that we cleaned the tree branches and really did that trim work. Thank you for watching. Thank you to CorpsTHAT, NPS staff, and AWY. Thank you so much for everything. And Paige should be up next.
All right, so I'm the last presenter, it looks like. See if I can see myself. Okay. So I just graduated from the internship in San Antonio. That was from June until December. And we collaborated with American YouthWorks as well as the Texas Conservation Corps and also CorpsTHAT and National Park Service. And I forgot to add also AmeriCorps as well. My apologies. Thank you. So welcome to my woodland. And here's just a warm up so I can introduce myself. My name is Paige. My last name is Austin. I'm Paige Austin. I had first lived in South Carolina before moving to Texas. And I worked alongside, sorry, I'm very nervous. Let me restart. So I was a crew member. That was my position during this internship. And I worked with masonry team, the sprinklers,
Interpretive team.
interpretive team. Sorry if I spelled that incorrectly, and the research group, along with other responsibilities. And my favorite experience, I'd worked with CorpsTHAT in the past over the summer, and that was 4 months experience during that collaboration. And it had gave me a lot of exposure to various tasks and in the outdoor field. And I wish to bring this throughout my college. I want to be an environmental science major, and so this relates directly to that. And I really do very much enjoy trying these new experiences that I've had the ability to get access to through my internship experience. And oftentimes people ask me, what did you find most challenging, and how did you overcome that? I feel very fortunate to have a big support team at CorpsTHAT from Emma and Marlo, or also known as Sam, whatever you want to call them. But they both were very supportive, and CorpsTHAT, as well as AmeriCorps, they helped me with overcoming the challenges that I had faced. And I really enjoyed taking the opportunity to explore San Antonio independently as an adult. And so it was very challenging. And, in the past, I'd have to rely on somebody, and I felt quite nervous on how I can advocate for myself in this role. And then when I had come to San Antonio, I was really taken aback, and it was a huge adjustment for me. And this 4 month experience was very transformative. Before coming, I was hesitant, I wasn't sure, but now I feel much more eager to take on more tasks independently. And my favorite memory, I'm not sure you know about the atoll. It's an indigenous tool prior to the invention of the bow and arrow. What they had done, they would take the arrow across their shoulder and throw it forward and at a precise target, such as an animal that they were hunting to eat for survival. And it was sticky, and it was, if you miss it, if you miss the animal would run away. So what they had done was the whole group, the hunting party, would throw many of these all at once at their targeted animal for hunting. And they had to do so in order to survive back then, to get meat. And at the same time, the meat was it's very interesting. How did their method of doing it? It was, you would think it would be hard, but you just pull back at a 45-degree angle, and you have to throw it simultaneously very fast at your target. I found it at first, quite challenging. There's no bow and arrow action that I was used to. So this is a whole new experience for me, and I found it very interesting. And if you remember, Mark had mentioned about the masonry project. I also was there, and we had to smooth out the rock wall and make it smooth the whole length of it. So the rough edges we smoothed out, and it was falling apart in some areas. So we had to fix it and smooth it out, which was very challenging, because when you if you see the last picture at the bottom, where we're applying water, we're spraying water onto it, and we have to first clean it before we can apply mortar onto it. Because if you don't spray it, then the pieces will fall out. They won't stick to it. So we first had to clean it and then quickly throw it onto the wall and throw the new mortar onto the stones. And after we smoothed out the grooves, we didn't want to do too much or just too little, just the right amount, and apply this mortar. And I don't want to duplicate Mark's presentation, but for me, the challenging part was how to apply the mortar. I was looking at it and I was like, oh, so that's how they made walls back in the day. And they had to match up, not with your skin, I'm sorry, but like, the right color and blend everything in. You didn't want, too much of a contrasting color. So we had to figure out how to match the color of this stone on the wall. If you saw one white spot, then the whole wall would come down. You had to take it off and then start over and redo it, which was very challenging. And I was really motivated to continue learning and develop this skill in masonry. So my metrics report, I admit this may not be exactly precise numbers. I tried my best. There's 38 reports that we had to do research on the various files, and then there's 300 trees that we had chipped and processed. 33 cut trees in total, but 300 branches that we had processed. So I'm pretty sure I have to change this picture. I thought I changed this picture, but yes, here's the squirrel. I'm embarrassed that this wasn't the right picture, but okay. That wasn't what I was expecting, but anyway. So, in short, thank you for watching my presentation on my experience throughout this internship. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Marlo. And thank you to all the partners that helped me throughout the way. I'm so grateful to have had this experience and working alongside you. So now I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, all the interns, for your presentations and sharing your experience for this program. We really enjoyed your hard work and seeing all of you be so successful in the program. So thank you again. Thank you. We look forward to you all continuing your work in this field, and hopefully we'll get to see more future work with National Park Service or Forest Service, or even coming back with CorpsTHAT again. We also want to thank American YouthWorks for your support and creating this program and your partnership. We hope to continue for the future. Thank you. And of course, we want to thank the National Parks site, the San Antonio Mission Historical Park, and all the staff there and supervisors that worked with the interns for the fall season, and then the Chickasaw National Recreation Area and all of their staff and supervisors who worked with the interns this fall season as well. Also want to thank all of the deaf professionals who work with National Park Service, the U.S. Forest Service, who gave presentations and trainings for our interns during their program. So now we are moving along with our annual fundraiser called Soul Fest. If you want to see this type of program continue, and want to see us grow and add more internship sites in the future, expand our programs, we would appreciate your involvement and support, whether it's donations or supporting by being involved and raising money yourself. And of course, we appreciate all of your participation with watching these presentations. And in any way that you can show your support, we are very appreciative, whether that's our events or presentations or anything in the future. So thank you again to the interns for your presentations, and thank you all for watching. Thank you. Bye, everybody.